All right. So we have another case study client interview here with an amazing client. Just got done, pretty sure about 9 months of in-depth coaching. So why don't you introduce yourself? Let everybody know who you are, what you do, and we'll kind of dive into some of these questions to get people to understand your experience.
My name is Taya. It has been about 9 months since we first started, maybe 10 months. I have been an online health and fitness coach for the past 4 years. And just recently, through a lot of the work that actually Oliver and I have done together, that we'll probably get in deeper into detail, have transitioned into something that I am much more passionate about now, more of like the self-mastery realm. So, I'm opening up a whole new door. So, online fitness coach turned into more of a self-mastery coach.
Mm, love that so much. And to see that transition too, from when we first started to you just finding more of a purpose and passion in, okay, it's not just fitness, like it's self-mastery. And we can go
Yeah.
deeper into what maybe you experienced through the coaching that we were doing that brought that out more of realizing, oh yeah, I want to help women a lot deeper than just fitness, right? That's a part, but that's not the whole, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So why don't you share with everybody where were you at when you were first considering maybe coaching or like right before we started working together, right before we got connected, what was kind of going on in your life in terms of the different challenges, the things you're experiencing kind of internally, your relationship to yourself, as well as kind of what was going on externally as well.
So last year in I would say like the first 6 months, I think Oliver and I started in July, and the first 6 months of 2024 were incredibly difficult for
Mm,
me in the realm of like mental health. I had just moved to Austin in May, but leading up until that, I was experiencing a lot of like depression, being inside
mm,
a lot of anxiety when I moved to Austin, like that transition from a much smaller town to a really big city.
yep.
Um, I was also in more of a fresh relationship that was kind of, we were experiencing a lot of like troubles together as well in the realm of like communication and living together was a whole new experience also.
Yeah.
And I had the reason why, or like where I was at before, was because I was experiencing a lot of like built up emotion that
Mm,
like I didn't know what to do with it. And I had never, up until November of 2023, I have drank my entire life. I have drank to
mm,
numb things. I have drank to, you know, numb the world, numb my
yeah.
experience, numb my reality. And up until November of 2023 is when I got sober. I started to really feel my emotions. So this was the 6, 7 months prior to working with Oliver that I was feeling a lot. And it was very, very overwhelming for me to handle to where it was coming in like outbursts. And also, I feel like a lot of my childhood trauma was just coming over me. It kind of, what I say is like it all just hit me. It caught up to me at
Yep.
once I took down the blinders. So I was just extremely overwhelmed with a lot of like emotions, a lot of feelings, a lot of trauma that like I knew it was stopping me. I knew that it was like a problem, and it got to the point where I was like, I have to do something about this. And I was already in therapy the year prior, and I just didn't enjoy it. And I was like, there has to be a better way. So
Yep.
that's kind of where I was at. I was just I even put in my application like I'm at a breaking point right now with myself.
Yeah. Yeah. And that I think that really articulates where your current state was at to even like right like something needs to be happening to kind of want to reach out to this work or reach out to a coach. And how did we get connected? Maybe talk about like that kind of initiation, because I don't think it was just through Instagram. It was kind of a referral, but kind of talk about
Yeah.
that experience of how we got connected, what that felt like, and what made you want to move forward, make the investment.
Yeah. So I am in a mastermind group, WWBA, with Kendall Strample, and I met one of the women that are in the group with me in a in-person event, and I really
Mm,
connected with her. And so someone had posted in the group that they were looking for a therapist, and this girl, Krista, she had recommended Oliver in there. And I knew that if it was from Krista, like it was a good referral. So that's when I had reached out. I don't even think I messaged you. I think I just filled out your application first. And then when we had gotten on the call prior to that, you had sent me three transfer or testimonials from three people I knew. So that was
yeah,
like, I was locked in at that point. I'm like, wow, like all those women, inspire me and I look up to them. So I was like, if they've had such a great experience, I know that I will.
yeah, and that's what made the transition. And then you were all on board.
Yeah.
I I'm gonna I'm gonna pause this real quick because I want to actually see if I can find your old application.
Okay.
Yeah, because that'll be so I have the actual form that you filled out right before we just got on a conversation, had our call, figured out if coaching actually made sense. And this is what you said. So first question, main question was, what has inspired you to apply for the expansion experience and one-on-one coaching right now? So the expansion experience is the name of kind of the program, but really the container. And you said, I feel like my childhood trauma is holding me back in many ways. I know I have been suppressing it and it's showing up in many areas of my life. I know it's holding me back from fully healing, and I'm ready to get the help to move forward and become a better version of myself. It's
Word.
like every coach wants to hear that. It's like, all right, this person's ready. But very honest with yourself. And what previous experience do you have with coaching? No experience with this kind of coaching. So you've never had this experience, and you were open to seeing what it could be like. And then the next question was, let's say we've been working together for 3 to 6 months. What do you want your life to look like and feel like at the end of this time together? And you said, I want to be able to heal from some childhood trauma, find peace, and learn to talk through things effectively without wanting to run away from the problems. I want to find more love for myself and my inner child. Now we're going to get into how those have played out.
Wow.
Yeah. And next question was, okay, awesome. Now entering into this new season of life, what do you believe is the number one thing preventing you from getting all that you desire? And you said self-sabotage. We're going to go into that, how that has no longer there. And of course, how ready are you to begin coaching? And you wanted to see what it was about. Are you able to invest financially in the coaching? You said yes, so you're ready and able to. And just other information. I'm an entrepreneur working for myself full time. I'm currently in a relationship that has been quite rocky, but we have both been actively working on healing our own wounds and helping each other to be the best for each other. So that was the very beginning before we even started. So let's get into what was your experience of us working together and just your experience of being in this container.
Oh, where do I start? Um, I will say in the beginning, like I had no idea what to expect. Like I watched the testimonials and everything, but I really didn't know what I was getting myself into.
Mm,
And also, as Oliver knows, I definitely have a masculine wound as well. So being held by the masculine was pretty uncomfortable in the beginning. But I was allowing myself to be comfortable with being seen because that
mm,
was something that on the vulnerable aspect and the emotional aspect I felt like I really needed to hide. So coming in, I kind of had my walls up, but I'm like a very open person. So like deep walls were up. Um, you challenged me for sure in ways that I was not expecting. I think a lot of the experiences of like healing my inner child was I had no idea that I would be able to go back there. I didn't know what that experience was going to be like. And I think that you holding that space for me to be able to go back and heal those versions of myself, even if there is more versions to be healed, I truly feel like having those experiences with you just walking me through and guiding me through those was so transformative. And
Mm-hmm.
like I would know going into our calls, I'm like, okay, these are going to be heavy. I have to prepare myself for these. I have to block my calendar off afterwards to go and like process everything. But it was challenging, but it was always so worth it. I think for me, the challenging part was being seen and getting out of my comfort zone and like actually talking about things, about how I'm feeling, about what I'm seeing, about what I'm feeling, like
Yeah.
experiencing, because I've never, like, for me, it's like I said in my application, like I run away, I shut down, like I don't talk about things, I suppress things. And that's how I've been for so long. So I think that was like a huge shift for me is being okay with expressing those things openly.
Yeah. 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 It was beautiful seeing you navigate those deep emotions and going into your past, time traveling back, right? That was the parts work. And why don't you share a bit more on that process? Because people might be more familiar with internal family systems, parts work. That's part of what we did in this is go to specific memories, access specific parts from your past to help heal them through whatever they were going through, whatever, your story is very inspiring of the things that you've gone through and where you're at now. So, what was that experience of doing internal family system, doing parts work where you were, connecting to your inner child or inner teenager and these other parts?
I think for me, I had an abusive physically, mentally, and emotionally childhood. So when we would do those sessions where we would go back and do a lot of that parts work, it was me like seeing that version of myself, going back to like calling those specific memories of, when I felt scared or when I felt like I had to hide or when I felt like I was embarrassed or like whatever memory we went back to, I felt like I could go back there and physically be with her
Mm,
her as myself, but like as a support next to her and just like sit there with her. And you did like such a great job of walking me through those experiences as well. But like literally sitting next to her and just telling her like I love you, I'm here for you, I'm always here for you, you are so strong, like just giving her that love and encouragement and like reassurance and support that she needed. And I went back to so many different versions, like the 3-year-old self, the 7-year-old self, the 13-year-old self, the 24-year-old self. Like I went back to so many different versions of myself that all I needed was that comfort, that love, that reassurance, the hug, like all those little things. So I think that was like the experiences going back, and I felt like I was right next to her,
yeah,
giving her what she needed.
yeah. Giving her the love that she's been looking for and kind of neutralizing the intensity of the emotions that you experienced because you
Yeah.
didn't know how to process them, so they were still stuck. And it was beautiful to see that process, right? The visualization, using the elements, kind of getting her to feel that love again and have that connection where, oh yeah, like it's not, I have a relationship with her now. Like
Yeah.
it's not just void. It's not just there. There's not anxiety or regret or reaction to it. It's not like, oh, I can. meet her, love her, respond to her, maybe when she still comes up through different emotions, you can now meet her. So
Yeah.
it was beautiful to see that. And that kind of leads into something else I'd love for you to share is some some aha moments in the depth of connection to your body. Like how was it actually feeling the emotions, getting into the body, like being present with it, right? We weren't just talking about the emotions, we weren't just talking about what happened. Like how was the actual experience of you really healing it, like really being in the experience, right? Shedding tears or expressing anger and actually allowing your body to process through it and feel it so that you can go on the other end. Like, what was that process like too? Because that's right, that's what we talk about. You got to go into the depths to get to the other side. You got to go through the dark tunnel to get to the light. You got to scuba dive all the way down to the deep waters to find the buried treasure, right? You have to
Hmm.
feel to heal. So I'd
Hmm.
love for you to talk about that.
Yeah, again, like I said before, I was numbing for so much of my life, so I never really like closed my eyes and was able to connect with my body or feel in my body. It was
Yeah.
like just on overdrive, and there's like so much to where, we're so involved in the external world. I was never connecting with myself. So in those experiences, I mean, you fully feel it because you're turned inwards. Like, there were some sessions I put my eye mask on to where like I was fully able to focus inwards, and just fully feeling and expressing, like you said, being able to actually move those emotions through my body instead of just feeling them and then suppressing them.
Yeah.
There were so many different sessions where, I was able to dance or throw a temper tantrum and scream into a pillow. Like there were so many different like vessels of moving that emotion through my body. And also, because those like sessions were so long too, being able to really sit in those emotions for a long time, not just like a quick, okay, I hear you, I see you, I feel you, move on. It's like, no, sit with this. Sit with this and feel it. And I think when I was able to do that, I was able to almost take the power away from some emotions, like the anxiety that I was feeling when I first came in. Like when you're able to sit there and just talk to it, I felt like they didn't have as much like power over me. But then on the opposite end as well, towards the end of the sessions where I'm feeling like really happy and so much gratitude, and like I'm able to sit with those emotions too and just like really feel and
Mhm.
express those emotions too. So I feel like I'm so much more connected to my body, to my intuition. Like I'm able to sit and calm. I meditate like every day now. So there's a lot of connection to my body versus when we first started.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's beautiful. And that's so important for so many women these days, where not just women, men as well, but you'd say specifically for women, like getting to the embodiment of feeling the emotion, expressing it, being in their body, right? That's also being in their feminine energy of like
Mhm.
you tuning in, allowing yourself to express. Like I don't have to hold the container of being in my masculine and like also trying to push away, right? Or
Yeah.
avoid or numb. And that was beautiful to see. It's always like the most brave thing you can do, the courageous thing you can do is meet yourself there.
Yeah.
And when you can meet yourself there at those depths, right, the more you can feel those, the more you can feel the opposite side, right? It's like the more you can feel the pain you experience, the more you can feel the pleasure that you're experiencing in life. So,
Hmm.
sound we can talk about that now of like where are you at now? Like what is that experience of how deeply you can feel love, how deeply you can feel joy, how deeply you can feel connected also in your relationship and
Hmm.
how that's improved as well.
Yeah. I think a big piece of this was also my relationship. Like I had put in my application, like my relationship was very rocky when I first came into this, like to the point where we are in separate apartments now, which has been great and exactly what we needed for us to be able to work through this. But it's black and white. It is a completely different relationship from when we first started. And I think a lot of that comes from the space that you held for me to be able to connect with myself, but also break down those barriers that were honestly holding me back, like my,
Yeah.
survival mode that I was in when I first came in and the flight response that I have, when I just like up and leave. And I think now just having more stillness and more connection and more peace and being able to feel those emotions as well, I'm not necessarily reacting to them. I'm more like allowing myself to feel them and then letting my partner in on that experience as well. When anxiety does come up, I'm able to, have a conversation with my
Mm,
partner, which is huge because before, like, I really struggled with communication. I really struggled with just my emotions getting too elevated to where I couldn't talk about anything. Like I wanted to run away from everything, and it's better to avoid it than face it. But now I just feel like a complete opposite human when it comes to those things, to where I want to fix it. I want to get better. Like I want to, be better for myself, for my partner, for my family, for, my clients, for everyone around me. And yeah, like I'm just so much happier now and I can truly say that doing this work has gotten me to elevate all of my relationships in my life.
beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah.
Because your relationship to yourself is elevated
Yes.
like
Yes.
exponentially. It really like the shifts that have happened. And why don't you go into that? Like you're transitioning out of fitness into self-mastery. What was that? How did this work maybe help assist in that? Was that part of the catalyst, or were you always thinking about that? What was kind of that this transition for you?
Yeah, so when I first came in, I think one of our first sessions, I was like, I don't even think I want to do fitness anymore. I was
Yeah.
like, I was feeling like really burnt out from it. And then like the next session, I'm like, yeah, no, I really do love this. And I'm like, I was very back and forth when we first started, which was like last like fall time frame. Which I then went to Bali for 30 days. And that was, we had two sessions while I was there also. And we continued to work through this while I was there too. And I think this combined with the stillness that Bali brought me to was just, I was able to really sit with my life and where I
Hmm.
was. And like, I think for me, it was like actually being able to be proud of myself, actually being able to like sit there and say, like, wow, like, look at how far you've come, and it's not just financially, it's not like in the business. It was like I was finally proud of like who I am. And I've never like really been able to say that. Like it's never enough up until we started doing this work. And it's like, wow, like I have
Mm,
been enough this whole time. Like I just haven't realized it. So I think that was a huge transition for me. And that was like a huge moment of I'm more than this. Like I'm more than fitness. I have more to provide to the world. Like I truly have had such a crazy story, and I just want to empower people, women on such a deeper level as well, because I know that I have so much more to bring to the world. So I think through doing this work, realizing my worth through this, that has made me realize that I'm just meant for so much more than the fitness, which is when I transitioned into self-mastery.
hell yeah.
Yeah.
I love that so much. Just you so open, so ready to dive in, so ready to meet yourself at these depths to face the uncomfortable conversations in your relationship and with yourself, to then book a 30-day trip to Bali, being there, just being with yourself, being right, like you had friends there, but it was a solo trip. It was a solo
Mhm.
trip, and just learning so much about yourself through that experience. and mixed with the depth you were going, like I can help people deeper as well. Like I'm going to
Yeah.
these depths and I know it's deeper than this. And to get to a place where I would say all of us struggle with not feeling good enough,
Hmm.
that no external thing really changed. Yes, you were in Bali, but like nothing, what I'm hearing is like nothing really was like huge and monumental and different. Right? It's not like you like 10x your business or like, wow, I'm so proud of myself now. Like that you felt that internal state of like, oh, I've never felt good enough and I was chasing that outside of myself. Like I'm proud of myself. Like I feel good. I'm about me. I'm good enough. And
Yeah.
that's huge.
Yeah.
Huge. And I can see that just in your smile and your energy and how you're showing up on social media and how you're showing up and creating these new offers and this new direction and what you want to do and the impact you want to create. It's like that was all like the epilogue. Like that was all just the origin story of you're like now my life is starting like really fully because I feel more like myself.
I had a rebirth. I feel like I had a rebirth for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was that's what this feels like, right? This feels like you're in the cocoon, right? You're a caterpillar when you come in and then you go in this cocoon and you're like in this metamorphosis. You're like, I'm just goo right now. And you're goo
Yeah.
for a couple months and then you come out and you're like, huh? Come out and
Uh-huh.
you're a butterfly.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. And you have a program called the Butterfly Effect.
Yep.
Yeah. And that's so why don't you talk about the what you've created now based on this work that you've done on yourself, that based on you diving into the depths of yourself, what came through creatively as you came more from this place of your heart, more from this place of love, more from this expanded being. What was created through that?
I think, like I said, a big part of like me being in Bali was the recognition that like I've always been enough. I just haven't felt that. Like I haven't known that in myself. And I feel like that was from like that huge disconnection with myself as well, from just, numbing everything since I was a child, So with that, I have recognized, and I've honestly recognized this all throughout fitness as well, working with, over 300 women over the last 4 years. A lot of us just lack self-love and self-worth, and we don't think that we're worthy. We don't think, we are our last priority. We put ourselves on the back burner. We prioritize everyone else, right? And I think that that was a huge gap from what I was seeing like in the industry and also like something that I had struggled with for so long. And so that's why I created this butterfly effect program. I literally created it at the beginning of the year and I told you I'm like I'm going to do it, like I'm going to launch it and then I launched it. But it's all about just taking back your power, taking back your life, getting in the driver's seat of your life, picking up the pen and deciding that you get to rewrite your story at any point in time. You don't have to identify with this version of yourself that you've been. For so long, I was wrapped up in toxic relationships and bad friendships and binge eating and restricting and self-sabotage, and that's just who I was for so long. And I realized over the years that, and I've done this multiple times. I mean, I've moved across the country without knowing anyone. Like, I left a marriage. Like, I've picked up the pen multiple times, but this just really reassured me that, like, no matter what mistakes you've made, no matter, what version of you that you no longer want to identify with, you can always change it. And the first step in that is choosing yourself, is loving yourself, is recognizing that you're worthy of change, that
Mm,
you have to choose you. You have to put you first. So that is what the butterfly effect and just my new brand and my new mission all embodies, is just choosing yourself, becoming the main character of your story and loving yourself fully, because you can't love everyone else. Yeah, you can't love everyone else until you love yourself. So that was a big piece that was missing before I did this work, was like, I can be everything for everyone, but nothing for myself. And that's
Mm.
changed. That's changed.
And that's perfect message for this kind of next question is what would you tell other people who are maybe in the same position you were in before we started, right? Who are have maybe never done this kind of coaching, maybe they've just worked with a therapist. What would you tell other people about this work and this experience?
One thing that I have been saying for the past couple months is you have no idea how good it gets. And it's
Mm,
nothing external. It's not the business, it's not the money, it's not the car, it's not the relationship, it's not the friends. It's nothing external. It's all within. And it gets so good once you realize that you have to love yourself. Like you are your biggest project, you are your biggest priority. And once you recognize that, once you believe that, it gets so good. It really gets so good. And nothing externally can shake you from that when you are secure in yourself and you love yourself and you pour into yourself because you're
mm.
convicted in yourself and you're aligned with the life that you want to live. So if you've never done this work before, it's so worth it. It is so worth it. It's deep. Like you said, you have to dive into the trenches in order to see the light on the other side, but it's worth it because those patterns, those beliefs, those behaviors will continue to have a hold of you for the rest of your life if you don't do it. So you have nothing to lose.
Yeah, right? Like,
Nothing.
what's the consequence of loving yourself? It's difficult.
Yeah.
I don't think there is one. It's kind of like
There,
exercise and working out. As long as you're being safe with exercise and working out, eating
yeah.
healthier, like what's the downside? There's literally no
Yeah.
downside. You're just going to feel better. What's the
Yeah.
downside to doing this work is you'll have temporary discomfort for long-term fulfillment, passion, and love, right? It's the same thing. Like, do you want short-term comfort for long-term discomfort, right? Short-term, let me drink, let me
Yeah.
distract myself, let me numb myself because I don't want to feel this. Okay, but then long term, I feel disconnected. So I feel disconnected from joy, from love, from my life, from my being, from my heart. So what's being created is not from you, right? Or just like parts of you, right? Because I think you creating your fitness, coaching, and doing that was that part of you, but there was a deeper part, right? There was
Yeah.
something deeper there. And then as we healed, which wildly uncomfortable because it was wildly uncomfortable with what you experienced. You experienced trauma. And
Yeah.
that trauma, those traumatic experiences, that energy gets stuck, right, in the body. And for us to move through that, for you to move through it and no longer let it play out in the intensity of the thoughts or the intensity of the avoidant attachment or the intensity of, limiting beliefs, we had to feel it, be present with it, and love it. And it was just, right, it was all the process of like coming back to your heart, which you did, and then now these different creative thoughts came through that were already there, right? It's like you didn't just create it out of thin air. It's like the butterfly effect, the self-mastery, um, unchained, all of that was already there within you. We just had to remove the things that were kind of getting in the way of that for that to naturally come through. And
Yeah.
thus you've created things that are much more in alignment with who you are, much more in alignment with the leader you want to be and how you want to impact women and the world.
Yeah.
And if you want to maybe share about Unchained, this new offer that you just came out with, and where your focus is with that.
Yeah, Unchained is a membership that I've created. So just a very low barrier to entry for women who are wanting to do more of the self-mastery, self-discovery, um, rewriting your story kind of work, become a new person, the identity work that you need to step into a new version of yourself. My whole goal with creating Unchained is I want to create a movement of women who are ready to take back their power, who are ready to feel in control of their life. Because for me personally, getting into rooms, being surrounded by people who are doing the thing, who are, leveling up and setting higher standards and raising the bar, you're more inclined to do that. You're more inclined to raise the bar for yourself and set a higher standard for yourself. So, community is so huge for that. So, I'm creating this community, which is creating a movement of women taking back their power and becoming this main character of their life. But breaking down barriers, breaking down the habits, the beliefs, the behaviors,
Mm.
self-sabotage, people pleasing that have just kept you stuck for so small or for so long, keeping you small. So we're doing work inside of the membership to unlock the version of you that you want to become.
I love that to unlock it, right? And
Take the
w-
chains free from the past.
what would you say the key is? Is the key self-love?
I would say that's a big part of it.
There might
Yes.
be, is there more than one key?
Self-love is a big part.
Different,
Choosing yourself. Yeah.
different. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm thinking like you have chains over your body and there's different
All over.
locks holding in those chains. There's many
Yeah.
different, right, aspects of that. So,
Yeah. Self-love, I would say, is like the entry port point to ending a lot of the cycles, the patterns, the beliefs. When you start to break down the I'm not worthy, I'm not enough, I'll never be successful, it's really of just choosing to love yourself. But there's, deeper things that we have to get into to break those down, of course.
yeah. Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's beautiful. It's
Yeah.
beautiful to see that transition from just fitness to doing this work, and naturally what came through was a deeper offer, deeper integration, deeper creative creation. I created like a creation naturally from your heart. That's what happened for me. I was a personal trainer too. I was doing more fitness, mind, body, spirit coaching, and that kind of just continued to get deeper and deeper as I was being coached through work like this. Not everybody wants to do
Yeah.
this work with other people. I can get that, but it's a natural progression of your expansion that
Hmm.
your ability to bring change to other people's lives expands as well.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
So we can kind of end it with like, what are you most excited about moving forward in your life?
Oh, that's a deep question. Um, if I could pinpoint it to one thing, I would say living in alignment with what I actually want and who I actually am. I feel like I've broken down a lot of walls and taken off a lot of masks and been able to really heal and connect with my true, authentic self and to love her and to, support her through everything. So I think living through that version of myself, not through societal expectations, not through the trauma, not through the mask that I have worn, and being able to trust myself and my intuition and to live a life that feels good, not forced, not out of pressure, not out of expectations, but truly like connecting with myself. Um, yeah, I think that would be what I'm most excited for. Like having the relationship with myself and living out of that.
Mm, amazing. And if people want to maybe reach out to you, join Unchained or the Butterfly Effect, or just maybe ask questions about more about the experience um, that we had here, where can they find you?
You can find me on Instagram. My handle is Coach Tehya, Tehya,
Awesome. At Coach Taya on Instagram.
on
Check her
Instagram.
out. And if you're a woman watching this, join her program, join
Yes.
her thing. Unless you need a masculine presence. If you want that, I'm here.
Oliver's there. Oliver is your guy.
And yeah, besides that, talk to everybody later. Peace. We got balloons.